That's a good start. Makina's just, what? Hey guys, welcome back to the episode of The Fruit of Grisaia. Boy. So I was still trying to not laugh at just how this started off with us for this episode. Not mad or anything, but how about you come out? Oh right, we caught her being sneaky beaky. Your aura is too crude. I can sense when you're even... no. I can sense you even when you're hiding. Tubby. Okay. I just said that for the hell of it. You were casting a shadow on the floor. I could tell it was you from the height in that shaggy head. Pretty much. Why were you hiding in the first place? I like the fact that she has a fang. You can barely see the little itty bitty fang right there. If anyone was to have the fang, I thought it was Mitsuru that was gonna have it. You don't get along with Sakaki? I think we've already been over this, not necessarily with her, but it's not surprising. Then again, she's not really getting along with it. She doesn't really get along with anyone else. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure Sakaki said something like, I think Irisu-san avoids me on purpose. You're in a state of mutual wariness. Well, I suppose that does happen sometimes. Sakaki, a guarded person who doesn't reveal her thoughts easily, and Makina, who feels most secure when she's burrowed her way into someone's heart. Their personal comfort zones may be incompatible. Well, it's foolish to expect everyone to get along. A long time ago, I knew a guy who hated black people with a passion, and nothing anyone said could get him to change his mind. Well, that's an interesting person, I guess. Though I can't see him having a lot of friends, to be honest, especially in modern times. Probably would not land him very well anywhere, really. Just saying. Sakaki Yumiko and Irisu Makina. There's no need to forcibly push them together, but in their case, maybe a mutual compromise is called for. I don't think Sakaki dislikes you, Makina, so try not to hate her yourself. Well, it depends. Do you have an interest in box knives? No? Don't give me that look. What else am I supposed to say here? I'm just doing exposition. Never mind. I see. Part of me wants to assume that she just kind of gave up on trying to be aggressive towards us to kind of say, hey, stay away from me. After she kind of like failed so many times trying to attack us, I guess. Well, it's not like we're particularly close, but we have a common interest in books, so I guess that helped get things started. Of course, I get the idea Sakaki mostly views me as a little more than a convenient book disposal. After all, it's hard to say you're friendly with someone who scolds so bluntly just because your hands touch. Makina, do you have any hobbies? I guess that's not a bad one. Solo? That's not good. What? What? What are What do you mean? Okay, I was not expecting her to say that. Oh god, that's funny. No. Also no. At the company I work at, solitary hobbies are fundamentally discouraged. We place a lot of stress on keeping up some form of communication with others. When it comes to the interest of the employees, the basics are alcohol, women, and gambling. But it's a bit difficult to own up to that in front of the boss. I guess that's about it. No vacations, nothing else. I guess that's all the three that people need, huh? Therefore, when asked, some of them just came up with a safe-sounding conventional hobby like shogi or go. I guess no one games in that area. It would make sense, though, I guess. The superiors reacted favorably to those answers. The end result was that the hobbies column in the employee survey data recorded an overwhelming number of shogi buffs. Although going with the flow is pretty much the defining Japanese characteristic, it's still something of a pathetic story. Well, having given them a nice safe hobby like reading myself, I guess I can't say too much. Nothing, just talking to myself. Incidentally, once you're the one giving the surveys out, in other words, an executive type, the hobby of choice would be gardening. Not something you can do when you're living out of a barracks. Yeah. Yeah, it's better to have some interests than not, even if they're really worthless. For example, the aforementioned employees and their wine, women, and song. Even then, if they can help you find a single common interest with someone, your hobbies are worthwhile as social lubricant. Alright, that's not a word I expected to hear. With social, even if they're worthless in every other aspect or respect. I think that word could have been interchangeable there, but whatever. This is something I heard secondhand from a senior employee at my job, but sometimes you get cases like this. Oh boy, we're telling her another story. We're gonna return to a I've seen some shit face. Here we go. This is a story about a man who took a business trip to Gifu Prefecture. It was a group expedition with the purpose of field testing new equipment that had just been deployed throughout his company. At the time, the man in question was a new employee, not even out of his training period. Nonetheless, he found himself taking a long, bumpy ride into the mountains on a company bus, accompanied by the chief of his special department. The man didn't have the first clue why he had been selected for the trip, let alone what he'd be expected to do on it. To make matters worse, he was sitting next to a very powerful superior he barely knew. In short, the man was about as ready to vomit from sheer terror and anxiety. He fought desperately to keep calm, but his face was pale as a sheet. The bus finally reached its destination at the foot of Mount Kinka in Gifu, after many unpleasant hours, but the man's relief was temporary, as his boss informed him that they would be attending a large banquet in the high-class inn that night. Corporate banquets are basically a cruel kind of talent show. New employees were expected to perform some skill for the amusement of the gathered VIPs. The newbies from each town department mounted the stage one after another. Quite a few croaked out popular karaoke ballads with stiff faces, but there were also some pretty competent juggling acts. Now that I think about it, at the internship I'm doing right now, or slash job, they've been making jokes about teaching me how to juggle. I don't know how to feel about this anymore. Even one stand-up comedy duo which got some laughs doing imitations of superiors. The man watched the other acts with a fluttering heart. His turn was approaching fast, but he was basically a walking, breathing lump of artistic incompetence, a social type with a single talent worth performing in front of others. Just as he was wondering whether he could escape by pretending a sudden illness, the man was practically kicked out onto the stage by the senior employees. For lack of a better thought, he started to sing. But the man didn't know any popular songs. Worse, he couldn't remember any of the standard folk songs or children music that might have worked at a pinch. The man went instead with a theme song from a superhero TV show, Lightspeed General Dain Makarov, which he loved as a kid. By this point, he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of despair. This was, of course, the man's first time singing in public, and he didn't have much of a voice. Within moments, he was showered in jeers from the audience. The hell are you singing? What's with you? So, are you just making that up on the spot? That's enough, get off the stage, you suck. Although he wasn't the type to break down in tears, the man felt a deep urge to dig himself in a hole and crawl into it. Only sheer stubbornness carried him through to the last humiliating note. When it was over, the man quickly bowed from the stage and raced back to his seat. Nope. Nope. I think this is actually one of those stories where it actually did have a lessons learned scenario here. Makina could potentially learn something today. On that walk back from the stage, the men had a thought. I wish I'd learned a popular song or two.
つまりカラオケが趣味だったらいらん恥をかかずに済んだってお話?
That's one way to put it. It's more of... I'd go a bit more general than that, though. Well, if you look at it that way, you're right, but the story isn't over yet. Please tell me this gets worse. Just gets worse. I want to see her make the "I've seen some shit" face again. With the equipment test wrapped up, the man had returned to his new assignment at the branch office in Shizuoka. Shizuoka. Someone called out to him as he was dealing with the transfer paperwork. So you were the newbie who sang Dai Makarov at the banquet in Gifu? The man's breath caught in his throat. He'd figured out by now that the main job of his superiors was to flaunt their authority by picking at the smallest mistakes and then rubbing his nose in it. And the manager speaking to him was infamous for his zealous leadership of his underlings. Frankly, the man was about ready to piss his pants. He swallowed and chewed his lip, bitter thoughts running through his head. What's he gonna blame on me? How long will I have to grovel? But the manager's words took him by surprise. I love that show when I was a kid. I guess expecting unexpected sometimes, huh? The man blinked, dumbfounded by this unexpected development. You from Hiroshima, kid? According to the manager, Dai Makarov reruns were played relentlessly every weekday afternoon on the local station. Practically every child in Hiroshima grew up watching the show. But the man wasn't a Hiroshima native. In the area he lived in as a child, the Children's Encore Theater program would broadcast old episodes of the show every summer. He just happened to see a few. Even so, the manager must have been really pleased to find a fellow Dai Makarov fan, as he began to pull a few strings to the man's benefit. One night after work, the man returned to his bed in the company dorm to find that a white plastic bag had been tucked underneath the sheets on his neatly made bed. He didn't remember putting it there himself, and when he asked around, no one else had any idea where it came from. The bag contained a huge jelly roll and a cup of instant ramen. That's nice. As a new employee, the man had to eat dinner at a set time of 5 p.m. By 10 p.m. lights out time at the dorm, all the trainees would be starving. That's unfortunate. This supplemental meal was therefore a very considered present. The man had an idea who was responsible. Most likely his Dai Makarov buddy at the top was the only one who could pull this off. On top of the early dinner time, learning the ropes as a trainee is particularly tiring. His Dai Makarov buddy had probably figured he'd had a hard time getting his young body to fall asleep on an empty stomach. The man actually didn't have a particularly big appetite and wasn't the type to be troubled by irregular meals. But then again, as a new employee, he didn't have much money he could spend freely on snacks and such. A little sugar was extremely welcome. If I get caught, they'll get punished too. So the man split the smuggled food with the other trainees in the room, and they all devoured their shares greedily. As the presents from his Dai Makarov buddy at the time they were known as the Dai Makarov supply drop continued. Wow, that's funny. That talentless, quiet, and hobbyless triple threat contender from the asocial crowd suddenly found himself getting along with the group in the dorm, all thanks to the Dai Makarov connection. And 3 months later, when the man's training period came to an end, it was once again his Dai Makarov buddy whose recommendation got him assigned to the Chiba branch office he'd hoped for. Well, that worked out well. In other words, when it comes to hobbies and interests, anything's fine. Finding friends you can talk about some common interest with is a really valuable thing. Oh yes it is. Sometimes something that small can be the trigger for getting a huge leg up in life. That's the moral of the story.
なんかよくわかんないけど、ダイマカロフって 大きなマカロンみたいで美味しそうなのよ。
That's kind of a some sit face. Close enough. I thought this was a pretty meaningful story. I guess it didn't quite get across.
要は一人で散歩したりお人形さんごっこしてばっかいないでいろんなこと経験しとけってことなのね。
I mean, she doesn't have to, do that all the time. She can still play with dolls and wander around by herself if she wants to, but it'd be nice if she did that. Well, more or less. When you're young, you should mess around with all sorts of things. Just try to find something that grabs you, even if it's stupid crap.
お兄ちゃんは今なんか夢中になってることあるの？
I mean, we mentioned reading. After all that spacing out, that's a pretty sharp question. I glanced down towards a pile of borrowed books I'm holding in my hands. I suppose right now I don't have anything other than reading that qualifies.
ロールケーキ食べたいね。
You aren't really listening to a word I say, are you? Well, not to say that you need to.
だってさっきのお話で出てきたロールケーキって単語が気になっちゃったのよさ。あとマカロン。
Macaroon. Go get a money to make something.
ぜひそうしよう。お兄ちゃんも後でアマネーのお部屋においで。一緒におやつ食べようよ。
Alrighty. Yeah, if I'm in the mood.
じゃあまた後でね。
I see. I learned my own lesson from this conversation. If there's a mention of food in the middle of a story, Makina won't remember another word. I'll have to be more careful next time. Rip. We made a mistake. During my middle school days in America, I got a number of strange nicknames from my classmates. Mainly because none of them could be bothered to remember a Japanese name. Oh, I have one of those stories. On the predictable side, there was Jap and Shorty. My family name Kazami got abbreviated to KZ as well. That's fine. However, among my numerous nicknames, the only one that stuck through basic training was Gar. What? Gar? Short for garbage eater. Ooh. It's not that I had a reputation for dumpster diving, it was a reference to my tolerance for shitty food. As to how I earned it, the story is very simple. The KP made a slop unfit for pigs, and I ate it without grimacing. Freeze-dried scrambled eggs, pork and beans made from scraps of ham, bread with peanut butter, and ridiculously stringy mystery meat were the staples. Ridiculously stringy mystery meat. Oh god. Yeah, I don't think wherever you were going to school at's even still around if that's how they served. Every one of them had a weird chemical aftertaste and they were all disgusting. Rumor had it that the secret sauce was gasoline. Oh. As for the chocolate cake we got for dessert, it was more commonly and accurately described as a desert. The cake was legendary for being inedible. No matter how starved you were, it would end up stuck in your throat as a dry lump, but I ate it and all the rest without complaining. Probably because I was living rough from a young age, I've never really been what you call a piggy eater. To put it simply, as long as my belly was full and my body was getting what it needed, the taste wasn't a concern. Why does that make it sound like he's fine with being a cannibal? Ugh. So even those 3 torturous meals a day didn't inspire any serious complaints from me, but the people around me must have thought I was some sort of freak. And after a while, my nickname became Garbage Eater, then eventually just Gar. Hey Gar, just how shitty a cook was your mom? I had a set response to this one. My mom didn't cook much, she was too busy screwing your dad's brains out. Okay. As far as my jokes go, I thought it was pretty kind of witty, but that line didn't get that many laughs. I guess my delivery was a bit too stony. Well then, what should I do for dinner? I don't particularly feel a desire to eat, but if you don't take meals at 3 regular times a day, it throws off your body's clock and leaves you more susceptible to fatigue. To tell the truth, I view meals as nothing more than an element of maintaining my physical condition. As long as I'm getting sufficient nourishment, I'm not that caught up on when or what I eat. When I spend any effort considering things like that, all I end up thinking about is how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to make something. I would not say that. I'd probably say it's usually more of me just trying to figure out what I want to actually eat, and then at that point I'm just like, should I make it? Should I just go get it? You know, just... Ugh. The modern life of me. Should I go get my food or should I make it? Do I have time? Do I have the groceries? Should I go get groceries? That's usually how my life goes. Eventually the act of eating itself starts to feel like a nuisance. My normal pattern is just trying to throw something together for my supply of canned, dried food. Oh, it's the large woman. I mean Amane. She just opens our door without a thought in her mind. Well, this is my room. Amane barges in like she owns the place, no longer even bothering to knock, but I'm already getting used to it, I guess. Probably because I've experienced a lot of emergency summons. It didn't get to me that much in the first place.
7時になったら私の部屋にご飯食べにおいでって言ったでしょ。夕食の用意してマキナと待ってたのになんで来ないかな。
As she speaks, I notice that Amane's holding a plate piled with crab legs in her hands.
実家からカニが届いたから食べにおいでって言ったじゃんさ。
Did we have this conversation, or was this another time? I do recall such an event. I also recall responding, if I'm in the mood, not that I'm definitely be there. Yes, but I said that you and Makina should go ahead and eat if I didn't show up on time.
何？あんたもカニ嫌いなの？
Not really.
殻を剥いて食べるのがめんどくさいでしょ。マキナも同じこと言うのよね。剥いてあげれば食べるくせにさ。剥いてあげれば剥いてあげたであの子。これぞザッツカニパンでしょとか言いながらパンに挟んで食べるのよ。
Yeah, it sounds like Makina.
基本的に物の価値が分かっていないっていうか、挙句には言うにこと書いてかまぼこの方がうめえなって失礼しちゃうわよ。
Ugh. Probably just means that Makina places more importance on how easy it is to eat. Honestly, I think I'd go for crab paste over crab myself.
何よ、張り合いのない子たちね。世の中には食べたくても食べられない子がたくさんいるのよ。
That's certainly true. She's not wrong.
分かったのなら文句を言わず食べなさい。殻剥いてあげるから。
Well, hey, that's one step down. Look, I wasn't really complaining, and I can take care of the shell on my own.
っていうか、私が来なかったら何を食べるつもりだったの？
Garbage?
ご飯は炊いてあるんだ。でもこれいつ炊いたの？なんかカチカチ。
Hey, hands off! Mani's wandered off into my kitchen and is examining things as she pleases. After confirming the contents of my mess kit cooker, she opens the door to my refrigerator and starts taking stock of my supplies.
食べかけの缶詰の残りと魚肉ソーセージとマヨネーズにレタスとチンゲン菜。何これ？たくあんの缶詰？
Pickled radish?
こんなのどこで売ってるのよ。っていうか、いつ開けたの？
But did you even buy this? I opened it at lunch. Get off my back. Why is it that this feels strangely embarrassing? It's not like I have anything troublesome in my fridge. In the first place, where does she get off calling canned radish this thing? It's well known among canned food connoisseurs as almost decent and pretty much edible. Pretty sure that's a food category I wouldn't even want to eat in. Is this woman looking down on the brave men and women who had gained courage from canned food throughout the years? As I silently burn with righteous indignation, Amane brazenly starts running tap water in my rice cooker. Hey, what are you doing? You're doing?
だってこのままじゃご飯がカチカチだし、一回水で戻すのよ。
I feel like we just ruined it. I don't care if it's that hard. Probably because I'm used to eating canned stuff that it comes out arid and stiff as a wax candle. I'm pretty tolerant of tough food.
卵はと、2つしかないけど、使っちゃっていい？
I don't care, but what are you planning?
カニチャーハン作ってあげる。あんたはおとなしく座って待ってなさいな。
Well, I suppose pretty much anyone can handle fried rice, especially for a woman. That somewhat prejudiced assumption is that you'll have a basic skill like that. Fact is, out of all the women I've met so far, only one who couldn't make edible fried rice was my master. Oh, really? Still, I can't quite hide a certain anxiety, not that Amane is paying any attention, humming to herself as she cracks open the eggs. These sound effects, though. After shaking salt and pepper onto the eggs, she mixes in the lightly rinsed rice, and then adds bits of crab meat, only about half of what she brought, and a finely chopped radish. These sound effects. Okay, they're just gonna keep going. Never mind. She heats a frying pan coated with mayonnaise rather than oil. Really? Adds the lettuce and spinach she plundered from my fridge and throws in the rice mixture according to her timing. Sticking the back of the ladle into the mix, she vigorously clatters it around the frying pan, messily stir-frying the food. When Amani decides it's done, she uses the bowl as a mold to form the fried rice into a perfect hemisphere, then tosses it onto the plate. This wouldn't look out of place in a Chinese restaurant.
そして最後に
No kidding. Dusting the leftover crab meat with mustard and mayo, she drops it on with a thud onto the top of a heap of fried rice on my plate.
はーい、お待たせ。
Someone just knocked her, she just placed the plate down. So she says, but it hasn't even been 10 minutes since Amani started to cook. The imposing pile of steaming fried rice on my plate looks pretty damn impressive for something cobbled together out of leftovers and in such a short time.
っていうか、この部屋もっと大きいテーブルないの？なんかお皿とかも少ないし、今度来るとき持ってこようか？
Not necessary. I've got what I need. The table is a small coffee table for one that Sachi dragged out of the some storeroom at a stopgap measure. And the frying pan and what tableware I have are things I picked out carelessly at a local 100 yen and hardware stores. But since I'm living alone, it's all perfectly adequate. No point in getting more dishes when I'm only eating off one. It just means more things to wash.
確かに洗い物は溜め込んでないみたいだけど。
That's actually not a bad point whatsoever. Noticing something as she speaks, Amani returns to the kitchen and starts to rustle through a plastic bag in the corner.
これはゴミ？捨てていいの？
Yeah. I've been throwing my empty oolong tea bottles in that bag, and before I knew it, I had something of a pile. But I was uncertain about the timing to throw it out.
明日資源ゴミの日だから一緒に出しておいてあげる。
With well-practiced movement, she peels off the labels, removes the caps, and skillfully cuts off the plastic rings with the tip of a kitchen knife. Finally, she lightly rinses the bottles and themselves with tap water. Judging from the smooth motion of her hands, she's repeated this often enough to gain the mastery of an assembly line worker. Clearly, she's something of an eco-friendly woman.
じゃあ、私部屋に戻るけど、食べ終わったらちゃんとお皿は洗い桶につけておいてね。後で洗いに来るから。
I recycle my stuff a lot too, so I'm kind of used to that. No, I could take care of that much myself. Sorry for the hassle.
いいのよ。ちゃんとこういうこともできるって見せておかないと、ただのエッチなお姉さんだと思われちゃうしね。
I think that's kind of what we've already established. Plus, I think the anime does a very good job at also displaying that. You know, that bit. You don't know? Here, I'll just put it on the screen. Bam. With a quick goodbye, Amane heads out of... I got that GIF stuck in my head. Oh, great. With a quick goodbye, Amane heads out of the room, not waiting for my impressions of the crab fried rice. I had the idea that a busybody woman like her would be more likely to hang over my shoulder pestering me for compliments, but she just popped in all of a sudden, cooked for me in a flash, and then left just as quickly. Might be the influence of dealing with that whimsical Makina all the time. Let's eat. Fortunately, I don't have a Chinese spoon in the room, so I'll just have to make do with this standard Western variety. I jab my spoon into the mountain of steaming fried rice and quickly thrust it into my mouth. Not bad at all. Even someone as disinterested in food as me can tell when something tastes good. The salt seasoning feels a bit thin, but this is probably how it should be if you're thinking about a healthy sodium intake. Blech. Although it would be insulting to compare this to the crap my master made. It's almost different from the stuff you'd get at a high-priced Chinese restaurant. It tastes like your standard fried rice. What's with this flavor? When I was living alone with my mother as a child, I remember eating fried rice that tasted like this. After finishing her day job, my mother would make dinner before her night shift started. In the last week of the month before her paychecks came in, it'd often be a pretty plain meal of fried rice. When all she could put on the table was fried rice with a bit of pink fish paste added, she would apologize as I ate. "I'm sorry, this is all we've got." That's sad. Unlike the fried rice Amani just made, there was never anything extravagant like crab thrown in, and Amani's cooking skills seemed to be better as well. So why is it that they taste similar? Could just be the same ingredients. You never know. Where's this slight melancholy coming from? Well, it doesn't matter as long as it's good. When I was a kid, anything I ate tasted good. The part of me hasn't changed too much. Interesting. Anyway, that'll be it for this episode of Fruit of Grisaia. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you on the next live stream or video that I do. I was having a few minor technical issues over the weekend trying to get the previous episode fixed because this audio, my voice was lower than the overall video audio, and also the 1 hour long episode that I had for Rabbi Ribby. Both of those are probably should be coming out in either now or soon. So if you wanted to see the re-upload of that, or Rabbi Ribby, or just this, well, if you're seeing this, I don't think I need to say anything about that. So, anyway, that'll be all for this episode. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys again later on.